I thought it was important to come out today, day one of the phase 2 opening of New York City. I wanted to come out in the morning, but we had Light on Conspiracies with Ole Damagard. That starts pretty early, and I didn't get a chance to get out. Before that, people who missed that are going to want to get onto Patreon and Subscribestar to check it out. We had a new guest today who presented some information some people found a bit difficult to swallow, but other people thought was tremendous. People should check that out for sure. Every Monday at 11 a.m., Light on Conspiracies with Ole Damagard, and we usually have Cody with us. Cody wasn't available today. He's recovering from some surgery. I was just kind of vamping to make sure we're live here. Looks live. Okay, so I'm back on Fifth Avenue where we were yesterday. Stabilizer having another mental problem. Let's see if we can get it back in action here. It's sometimes uncooperative. I might look sideways now. Okay, so we're on Fifth Avenue, one of the most revered shopping districts in the world. Today is day one of phase 2 of opening, which is to include retail, I believe, retail shopping, definitely outdoor dining at restaurants and barber shops, hair salons, that kind of thing. So we're here on Fifth Avenue. I've seen this around. Can we still fall in love this summer? 7 Souls Deep. You know, people who saw Sunday with Charles yesterday will remember that Charles and I, well, mostly me, I know Charles doesn't necessarily want me talking to these people, but I had some words with some people who were doing art on some boards that they felt wasn't bothering anybody. I haven't had a chance to speak to any business owners who have put up these boards. I don't know if they did, in fact, give the permission to those people who said they had permission. I also wanted people to get an opportunity to just look around at the streets. It's 5 o'clock right now. I figured since I couldn't be out in the morning, we could come out at 5 when most people are going to be like getting off of work, and we could see how crowded the streets are or aren't. Another interesting thing that people could do is go back and look at all the videos in this Ghost Town NYC series and kind of compare how the city is doing. So this is interesting. This is Ralph's Coffee. I don't think this is normally allowed to have outdoor dining, but I guess they're making special rules to allow the place to have seats outside. That's cool. Looks like nothing is really open. This says, for any pickup and deliveries, please call. I mean, you know, why do you need an expensive store on Fifth Avenue if people are just buying stuff online and then you're delivering it? Is the Nike store open today?
No, it's still shut down.
Still shut down? I thought phase 2 was the opening of retail stores.
That's true though,
but they've chosen?
The glass windows are still not fixed.
The glass is broken, so it's closed. Got it. Aha, so that was the security guard at Nike. Ah, right. So there we go. So phase 2, but there are still a lot of businesses that are not ready, including Nike. I mean, Nike is not necessarily a company that I'm worried about. They're a huge corporate thing that could put a store on Fifth Avenue specifically to lose money, but just to advertise to people that here's Nike and it's a thing. But these little independent businesses are not going to be able to survive. I've, based on just a guess, I've said that it's my feeling that 50% of non-giant corporation businesses in New York City are, in my opinion, likely to be out of business, if not now, certainly by the end of 2020. That is weird. So there's glass with graffiti on it. Somebody's gonna have to clean that. This is the pizza place I was telling Charles about that's closed. Oh yeah, I mentioned this yesterday, but we'll get a chance to take a look at it. So, I mean, again, most of these stores on Fifth Avenue are big, giant corporate things. Sephora, I mean, I can only imagine it's probably $10,000 a square foot or more to rent a place around here. And I'm thinking about some of the stores that used to be here. This used to be an Army Navy surplus store. Bought a lot of stuff for props for films in film school at that place, and clothing and camping stuff and all that. See, this is getting back a little bit to what New York is like. I got people driving against traffic on bicycles, both of them almost crashing into me simultaneously. That's kind of a welcome return. Right, so a lot of these places are still boarded up. Nike telling us that they're not ready to open because their glass is broken. Oh, and on the walk over here, you know, this is something I've been observing quite a lot. There's just a ton of Verizon trucks around, and initially I shrugged it off as no big deal. Verizon's just around making repairs and things like that. I don't think that's the case, however. I just think there's like too many Verizon trucks for it to be a normal kind of a thing. And I mean, we're seeing all these retail spaces for rent. Normally something doesn't sit available for rent on Fifth Avenue. There's so many people who want retail space on Fifth Avenue that like the second something becomes available, some real estate, you know, whatever, broker or whatever, has somebody ready to go right in there. So it's pretty unusual to see, you know, space available for rent on Fifth Avenue. Maybe I'm wrong. There's real estate experts who watch the show who can correct me on that, but it's not the type of thing that you really see all the time. We see there's still a lot of businesses with the wood on them. SM Zacco, is that a wood removal company? Some of the places are open. As I look inside, I see no customers. I see one customer. I don't know if people can see through the glare there on the window. Construction, yeah, that van looks like perhaps it's removing wood or replacing windows. The Gap, looks like there's one person in there. Tenants and visitors must wear masks, despite the fact that it's illegal for them to ask you anything about your health or force you to take some prophylactic medical steps. I see a lot of people with that, with the mask on, and I saw some guy for the first time had the mask on his nose but not his mouth. That's the opposite of what we see most people doing. Are these Amazon guys delivering stuff? We can see down there, I don't know if people can see it, but that's the former New York Film Academy. That is that, what is it, Tammany Hall? Teapot Dome, something? I mean, certainly 50% of the businesses remain boarded up. This is a giant corporate thing, Lululemon, isn't it? I think it's clothing or dancewear or something. Anthropology closed. So now it's 5:08. A lot of places in the city. I used to do summer hours when 21st Century 3D was rolling, if we didn't have like a deadline, let everybody out a little early. So I would normally expect a lot of people on the streets here, just hanging out, socializing, going to the different restaurants. You know, people go for happy hour or early dinner, or a couple cocktails and stuff like that. The restaurants that I've walked by, oh yeah, here, I wanted to show everybody this. I walked by one of my favorite restaurants. Here, let's take a listen to this. Holy cow. Oh. Are you guys closing the restaurant? Permanently closing it forever? I'm so sorry. What about the one in Queens?
We still have the one in Queens and the one in, so we're gonna move everything.
But this is closed. Wow. Good luck with everything. Yeah, so
Wow.
Mira Sushi permanently closed. I mean, that was a really good restaurant. Not too expensive, delicious food, some of the best izakaya you would ever get. Gone. Closing. And people also probably noticed a huge amount of garbage on the street over there. Sometimes, I mean, New York has that. I'm seeing a lot of people with cans, like more than usual. And this just is a coincidence that here where I stopped to show that other video segment of Mira Sushi closing down permanently, there's another crew. I mean, I get it, people need money to recycle the cans, but that seems like an increased risk of exposing yourself to, things that people have put their mouth on. Just something to think about. Everybody's yelling about where's your mask, and here we got people moving around filthy cans. Mask required. All the different varieties of signs telling you how a mask is required. Well, I don't know if this is a surprise to anyone. That's something you don't often see, the street replaced with wood. I guess they're about to pave this over soon. But I don't know if people expected to walk out in Fifth Avenue to have all the wood removed and be open and, phase 2 all ready. But it doesn't seem like that's the case. I mean, I guess things are coming back to life to some extent. But, really the thing to do would be to take a video like this or a couple of the videos from the Ghost Town NYC series and start comparing them to a random walk around when there was no coronavirus, no awareness of it, and compare the crowd on the street and the activity. So here's COVID-19 streets update. There are open streets available in all 5 boroughs to help New Yorkers practice social distancing. What? What the hell does that mean? Practice social distancing. Do they mean to do it repeatedly until you get good at it, or to engage in the practice of doing it? That seemed like a very dumb sign to me. So it does seem like there's more people around. Now wait a minute, something going on with the cops over here.
They not supposed to say shit to me, my nigga.
Wait, what the fuck?
Yo, son, what precinct y'all in? I'm not even report. What precinct y'all in?
Wait, what the fuck ago? Wait, what the fuck happened? I was upstairs.
The bitch was walking past looking at me.
I swear no one.
He was, what's it called? Talking to me. Shouting at me.
Something going on. Wow, that's sad. There's a guy on the corner right there wearing socks that looks like he's had them on for a month, lighting a fresh cigarette. I mean, isn't a pack of cigarettes like $20, $18 or something crazy? You could probably buy the guy a pair of socks for the cost of one cigarette. That would be helping him a lot more. So, still, Who Kitchen? What does this say? Oh, they've closed it. Thank you for those who have been supporting Who Kitchen and other small businesses. Wow. Wow. So this sign reads like it's closed. So, again, this was a pretty large small business. I don't know if this is a national chain, but definitely a huge, restaurant inside there, which is now closed. So you can't go back there. Students from the new school, which I think people have some complaints or criticisms about on its own, but that place used to be jammed all the time. Gone. Now this is something. Oh no, it's the next block. Oh, maybe they already took it down. Yesterday there was a rent demand on this building here. Let's take a look. I think this was it. That guy doesn't have a beeper or whatever. Dear customers, due to the coronavirus pandemic, safety concerns and all employees, the company will close all stores until further notice. No, this wasn't it. It was the deli down here. Did I walk past it already? Maybe it was I I think I must have passed it. I think it was that deli. They must have addressed it, but there was a rent demand on the door
Okay, she wants to see it from her.
asking for 28 grand. I mean, that's a big deal. I think we're going to see an amazing apocalypse of small businesses. I don't think hardly any small business is going to be able to. I mean, 50% of small businesses failing, that might be a conservative estimate, to tell you the truth. So then what happens? Those businesses fail. The people who work there have no jobs. There's a protest going on, as I understand it right now, down by the housing court where they want to cancel rent. But that doesn't seem like a good solution because, you know, somebody owns the building. Not every building is owned by a super millionaire. What about the person who is on their way up as a real estate investor who is overextended and, you know, have mortgages on their building? They got to service those mortgages, and when people can't pay the rent, they can't pay the mortgage, they can't pay the insurance, they can't pay the staff that runs the building. We're starting to see this kind of domino effect, this, what's the word I'm looking for, this sequential collapse of things, because you can't just shut the economy down for working on 4 months and tell people everything is going to be great and have it come back. You know, the guest this morning, Dr. Ward, he was saying that there was going to be some economic reset. I think that's possible, but I'm not so sure that it's going to be this rosy, pain-free transition that he's talking about, because there's already so much damage that's been done here. How do you unwind it other than, you know, massive pain, people losing their life's work, losing their health, losing their homes, having no place to live? Then you get into the heart attacks, the suicides, the people turning to crime, those sort of things. Had a conversation with the guy who owns the hair salon where I get my hair cut. He's become a friend. I've been going there certainly since before 2001. So, I mean, 20 years, 22 years, something like that. We've become friendly. So, you know, he used to work at a big French, like Jean Pierre, whatever, some chain haircut place that was near my old office. Then eventually he ran that place, and he married a woman who was working at that place. They opened their own place. That's moved around the city to a couple locations, and now he's uptown at a non-street level because the rent was already too high. He had to go up a level, so now it's a different type of business. He doesn't get the kind of walk-in that he was having. And I spoke to him on the phone yesterday for maybe like a half an hour, asked him if he's reopening today, and he says that he is, but there's a couple problems. First of all, he's been mandated by, I guess, the governor that they can only utilize 50% of their space. And now, I mean, this is a guy that moved from France to the United States, worked his way up from cutting hair, that's a pretty, you don't have to go to Harvard to do that. That's a guy who's doing a job that you could have done 2,000 years ago. That's an honest living. I appreciate those types of jobs. This is a guy who took it, made it his own business. Him and his wife ran it. He bought a house. He moved from France, became a citizen of the United States. And I remember through all the years where he was telling me he was studying this thing and getting lawyers and whatever. And then when the election was going on in 2016 and all this debate about the wall and immigration, I don't know if he's a Trump supporter, but he definitely supports the idea of legal immigration, primarily because he spent so much money, time, and honest effort to become a citizen of this country, because he appreciated the opportunity that was available here, and he wanted to be a part of the society. He didn't come here and say, let's destroy this and make it France. But anyway, the problem that he's facing now is, even if he worked as hard as he's worked for the past 22 years, 6 days a week, no vacations, even if he did that, the best he could possibly do is 50% of what he was doing 3.5 months ago. Oh, and by the way, the rent hasn't gone down. In fact, he told me he owes 3 months rent and he doesn't have the money, and he's got a knot in his stomach over that. I remember how I felt when 21st Century 3D was on the way down and coming to the realization that I can't pay the payroll, I can't pay the rent on the various offices anymore, and it's a lot of pressure. I didn't have any kids or a wife or anything at the time. Well, I was married to Vanessa, so I did have a wife. But the point I'm getting at is, that's a lot of pressure. When you have a bill hanging over your head, people know what I'm talking about. I don't need to explain this. And you know, you can't just go to these landlords and say, hey, cut the guy's rent by 50%, because how do you know that the landlord can maintain the mortgage, maintain the staff in the building? Who knows? This is this cascade of problems that we're about to witness. And now I guess we have to have cops watching this 24/7, because there's people who think that it's justice to destroy things they don't like just because they don't like them. I could get behind a conversation about changing our understanding of some of these symbols, not necessarily George Washington, but I mean, listen, oh, look at that. Wow. Oh, somebody defaced this. They're graffitiing it all over the place. Look at that. So, I mean, you know, this is not civil discourse. Abolish prison, okay? Do we see that? This is what this movement is all about. They want to abolish the police, they want to abolish prison, and they want criminals to run free to serve out justice as they see. They don't seem to understand that justice in the United States of America involves due process. And they'll say, oh, George Floyd didn't get justice. I'm not comparing one thing to another. George Floyd didn't get justice. But wasn't it Martin Luther King who said, eye for an eye leaves everybody blind? If we want to be a civilized society, we have to recognize injustice where it is, call it that, and answer it with justice. Otherwise, we're just all constantly fighting, killing each other. Now, what the hell is going on here? Charles and I saw this thing yesterday. It's really very hot again. So these, what do we got going on in here? Let's see if we can talk to these people. This guy says he knows his rights. This is open. There doesn't seem to be anything stopping me from entering. Hey, can I speak to you guys for a second? May I enter here? Can I come in? What do you guys got going on in here? Yeah. I'm not going to stop, but if you don't want to talk to me, I can walk away. What are you guys doing here in public?
I don't want to be in recording.
But you...
Law of privacy.
No, not in public. Not when you come out in public.
It's true.
It's not true.
Yes,
there
it
is no
true.
law.
Can you get the fuck out of here then?
When you come out in public and occupy the
You
park,
said walk away. Get out of here.
you better stay calm.
I said walk away. You're not even supposed to be in here. That's illegal. Get the fuck out of here.
You better get back from
Go
me.
away. Close the gate, bitch.
You know what?
Illegal. Get the fuck out.
You are a crazy woman.
There is a law. You look it up.
What's the law? That when you're in public, I'm allowed to record your psychotic ass. Why aren't you arrested?
Good. Do it.
I'm not harassing her. I asked politely to speak to her, and she said she has a right to privacy. Not in public. You don't have a right to privacy. That woman has no right to tell me what to do. I can record whatever I want in public.
I can't. I'm happy to have that conversation with them. I'm just saying, you purposely agitated her.
No, I didn't. I wanted to ask
But you
them.
walked up to her, and you're already
I
agitated,
said,
right?
can I come in? I asked politely.
Oh, I thought
They
you were
said
saying
yes.
something else. Maybe
Then I said, can I speak to you?
Then I didn't hear it.
And
so-
she said, am I? Exactly. And you chimed in, even
but
though
at
you
least-
didn't
but at
hear it,
least-
and you gave me
hey.
your opinion, which I'm not interested in. So people like to get involved in things when they have no idea what's going on. We have some psychotic woman.
I will hurt you. Get your camera out of here. I don't want to be on your YouTube, bitch. Get out of my face.
You gonna throw that bottle at me?
Am I gonna what?
You gonna throw that bottle?
You said.
You gonna throw it? You're
What?
cocking it back with your arm.
What the fuck are you talking about, too? What is your name, bitch?
My name is Jason Goodman.
Good,
What's your name, you
bitch.
psychotic
Goodman?
maniac?
Jason Goodman?
What are you doing in the middle of the
going
park acting like a maniac?
alone.
Get away from me, okay?
walking around
You're
you.
approaching
I'm
me
walking
while this
around you.
fucking crazy
I'm
lady
walking the fuck
is
around
yelling at me. You're agitating. I'm asking her what she's doing in the park. Don't do what?
Beg your pardon?
Exactly, buddy. You're the one who started up. I was going to ask the woman what's going on in there. Wait a second.
You're starting up. Dude,
I walk.
get out of here, dude.
Are you an Antifa guy?
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, seriously, dude.
So you guys are allowed to be here and I'm not?
School you on something. Let me school you on something. If you're gonna approach people and they don't want to be, it's
Someone
harassment.
comes
There's no
up to
question
you
about
and
it.
says, yield with the camera.
Yeah.
That's what you fucking do.
It's the and that's actually the law.
Stop.
No, it's not the law.
It is.
When you're in public, it's my right to record you.
No, not if somebody
That's
says
the
no.
law.
Not if
Someone's
somebody
asking
says
for
no.
their consent.
Get out of public. You cannot take over a park.
Don't take my picture anymore. How about that?
How about both of you guys leave? You're advancing on me. Back up.
I will advance on you.
Back up.
I will.
Back up.
Dude, don't put it in my face.
Back up.
I will stand here.
You're advancing on me,
Yes,
man.
I am advancing on you.
Back the fuck up.
You just pulled a fucking weapon.
I got a flashlight to blind you if you come at me. How's that
Get it
picture?
out of here, dude.
Oh, there you go. Assault. What's your name, bro? What's your name, friend? Playing with fire. You guys are in here. Jesus Christ. You see the maniacs that are around? And the cops won't do anything. The cops will not do anything. This is what's happening, people. Okay, so now everybody says, ooh, get out of here, get out of here. This is not their park. They don't own this place to tell me where to go and where not to go. That guy's trying to destroy my property, telling me who to talk to and who not to talk to. See, the cops can't even arrest that woman for fear that there's something, you know, they're going to be on the news, they're going to go to jail. This is just psychotic. So that's the New York City Chaz right over there. Little independent private nation that these people occupy. Look, the cops left. Did they see that disruption going on and leave? That's interesting. So just get a load of what's going on here, everybody. Lawless in Washington Square Park. That photographer who took it upon himself to get involved in the conversation without knowing what's going on decided to hit my camera after chiming in and trying to tell me what the law is. Hey, officers, I know you guys are having a rough 2 weeks. What's going on with these people in the middle of the park in the fountain there? What's the story with the people in the fountain? Are they allowed to threaten people and assault people and sit in there and occupy that fountain like it's their home? Why aren't they being removed is my question. I was just assaulted over there. And I think that thing should be shut down before it becomes Chaz. Why are they allowed to stay there?
Just keeping the peace out here.
Yeah, but I just got assaulted over there, I'm telling you.
Got assaulted.
I got assaulted.
What's the definition of assault?
Somebody hit me and knocked my property to the ground. And it came at me in an intimidating way and, you know, threatened me. Does that meet the definition of assault?
No, somebody had to have a closed fist, and they had to punch you in your face.
I don't think that's correct.
It has to be physical or kick.
I don't think that's right. Let's just check.
Yeah, just check the New York Penal Law for assault on third degree. Because what you described to me was an harassment.
Okay, so let's go over there and talk to them about harassment.
I had to actually view harassment to make sure that was silence.
I see. I mean, you guys understand why even people who support the police are frustrated by this kind of thing? So I'll come back to the original question. Why are they allowed to occupy that area and threaten and intimidate people from entering it? They've taken over the center of the park. There's no police on foot in there. It's lawless in there. We're a second away from anybody getting assaulted.
Sorry, I'm just following orders. I got my supervisor.
Who is the supervisor? This sergeant? Is she the supervisor?
You can talk to her if you want, but
Who's the supervisor?
she's not my supervisor.
Who is?
Oh, my supervisor is somewhere else.
So what happens if we need to do something that the supervisor needs to answer?
Oh, he'll address it. He just told us to stand here. That's our job for today.
So if somebody gets killed over there, you continue to stand over here until
No,
somebody who's
we'll
not here
answer
tells you to
that.
do something
Of
else?
course we would.
So I'm telling you, there's something going on over there. Why are these people allowed to stay in the center of the park? They've occupied that thing for days.
Okay.
Not okay.
I'm just letting you know that I understand where you're coming from.
Guys, how do I escalate this? Who do I speak to? Who's the supervisor? How do you radio them and tell them, we got a complaint right here, you're doing nothing? I'm not trying to defund you or assault you or do anything. I'm trying to walk through this park without getting harassed, and we got people who are occupying the center of it. How is that okay?
Okay, I have a supervisor come and speak to you, okay?
How are you going to do that? You don't even know my name.
Call him.
You know you're not. You're standing here trying to get me to leave. Well, yeah, let's call him. Am I making you guys uncomfortable? Because that's not what I'm trying to do. Why? What am I doing that's making you uncomfortable? So, what? Hi. So I was just assaulted over here, and I have a question of why are these people allowed to occupy the center of the park and threaten and intimidate people? Why don't you walk with me over there and we'll see how open it is?
It's really not necessary. There's no people walking around.
I just got attacked. These guys say it's not assault. What is the definition of assault in New York?
You need to have definitive injuries.
I don't think that's correct. Because officers have told me that before and I looked it up and it was wrong. So if somebody punches a cop and they don't get injured, that's not assault? Guys, I'm on your side. Give me some help here. I can't walk through the park without getting assaulted. There's people who think it's their right to occupy the fountain and live there.
That's Parks Department property.
You know, you guys are making it real hard to remain a supporter. Here's some lieutenants. Let's see what these guys have to say. Excuse me, officers. I was just assaulted over here, and I'm curious to know why these people are allowed to occupy this area of the, I'm recording.
Did you get assaulted?
Just a minute ago, I have.
Did you make a report, call 911?
I couldn't even get these officers to listen to me. They tell me it's not assault. I got hit on my hand, the camera fell to the floor. They were threatening. One of the photographers over here who is photographing these people.
Out so we could go arrest them.
Let me just ask you the primary question.
No.
All right, let's go. Why are these people allowed to occupy the center fountain here?
Sir, you gotta ask the city. Sir, you said you were assaulted, right? So if
Yeah.
who assaulted you? Let's take care of that first.
Guys, I'm
I
asking
think
you a
that's-
question
that's-
while we're walking
sir,
over
I
there.
think that's more of a important thing right now is you being assaulted. Let's figure out who did that to you.
You know what?
Right or wrong, sir?
Huh?
Right or wrong, right? That's
Wrong,
my question.
wrong.
You came up and said you were assaulted.
You guys are
I'm
giving me
trying
the
to help you.
runaround. You're not trying to help
No,
me.
you're asking
I
me about
do
the
not
people inside the
agree
house.
that you're trying to help me.
Show me who assaulted you, sir.
It was 10 minutes ago. The guy might be gone. You know what? I'm done talking to you
Well, you're
guys.
done
I
talking to
support
us.
the NYPD, but you're not making it really very easy.
I'm trying to help you, sir.
You're not.
I am. I actually showed you who assaulted
Okay, let's walk around and we'll see who assaulted me. You can't answer the question of why they're allowed to be there? I have to ask the city. Great work, guys. What's up, bro? Did you see the guy who assaulted me? Yeah, they're gone. They're gone. Okay, the police are intimidated by the thugs here, and when a person who is actually assaulted wants help from them, this is what always happens, by the way. I've been assaulted with deadly weapons. 10th precinct refused to do anything. You get the runaround like that. It's very frustrating when you want to support the police, but they're just straight assholes like that. Very frustrating. This country is just in such a huge amount of trouble. It's really difficult to understand how it's going to end positively. Obviously, those cowards left when I walked over to the police, and because the police are not effectively patrolling the park, it's real dangerous to be over there. Real bad. So we know who controls the city. A person walks over with a camera and the masks go on. I support the NYPD, but I tell you, I just got assaulted in the park and your colleagues did nothing. I saw the mask go on when the camera went on. It's happening all over the place. What we need is the governor and the mayor to pull their heads out of their ass. Because if that's the type of response that you get from the police when you get assaulted, no one wants to interface with the police. Trying to help me. They're not trying to help me. They're trying to come up with the next excuse to get me to go away. They're all outside the park. The danger is inside the park. Excuse me, officers. Excuse me, officers. Is there anybody who can tell me why these maniacs are allowed to take over the fountain and assault people in the middle of the park? Well, I mean, you're here. You can't see it. It's happening over there. There's two naked weirdos who've taken over the fountain. I asked them if I could come in there and talk to them. They said yes. Then they asked me if I was recording, and I said yes. And then they went crazy and started charging at me and threatening me. Then I came outside. A guy hit me. Camera hit the floor. I went to the police, and they gave me every excuse in the world as to why it's okay for people to occupy that center circle. How do we escalate this to somebody who can do something about it? Thank you very much, Officer Fitzpatrick. Sergeant, thank you. I mean, it looks like NYU is very well protected. It's just absolutely gut-wrenchingly disgusting what is going on here in New York City. Keep my eyes behind me. Isn't it amazing how people who know nothing about what's going on get involved, take a position? This is exactly that bald white guy, fat guy with the camera, who wants to get into a fight. I mean, that guy has no idea what's going on. That guy has no idea what was said, what those people are doing there, what they said to me. That is a microcosm for the whole entire Black Lives Matter movement. People show up and they're angry about something, but they don't know the facts and details about it. They don't care about looking into the facts and details. They just want to break stuff, steal stuff, feel empowered, fight with the cops, threaten the cops. The cops cannot do anything. Even in that street altercation that we caught the tail end of, you know, we saw a skinny guy who didn't seem too composed in terms of his demeanor, yelling at the cop, threatening. Every cop is walking around afraid that they're going to either get swarmed by a mob and killed, or carry out their job and go to jail for assault, although apparently, according to the cops, it's only assault if you're injured. I don't think that's correct. I didn't have a chance to look that up, but it was clear those cops weren't going to do anything to help me. They're just standing there. The cops don't need to be defunded. They've been defanged. They're just unable to do anything. The city is more dangerous than ever. And it's right now, we're in a phase where over time, the people that will take advantage of this dangerous climate, they're going to start realizing that, and they're going to become bolder and bolder. More shootings in Chaz Chop last night in Seattle. It seems to me the fountain in Washington Square Park is like an hour away from becoming Chaz, New York. I thought I politely asked those weirdos if I could speak to them. 3 levels of assault. What are they? Cops more worried about their own safety, never mind yours. Exactly. Well, so then they're useless to me. I agree it's an assault, Sky Queen. The guy hit me. As a matter of fact, Larry Klayman detailed assault and battery when he came on the show and was talking about Ilhan Omar snatching the phone out of Laura Loomer's hands. That was an assault. New York is never a good place to visit. Well, that's not true, PolitiFest. It used to be. Get out of all cities. Easier said than done. Where do I go? What do I do with all my stuff? I don't have a car. How do I leave? So look at this. So we were just over here yesterday, and anybody who was anticipating some grand reopening, it definitely said retail. Okay, so this is open, but it's been pretty well smashed up. The Walgreens, Dwayne Reed, whatever, one of them bought the other. Broadway remains totally boarded up. Washington Square Park is controlled by psychotic weirdos who want to be naked. I mean, what? Maybe they'll get skin cancer and die pretty soon. That'd be a benefit. Now, I meant to look up the names that those people were telling me about the art gallery that they were supposedly having permission from yesterday. Are you with the gallery? Sorry?
She's just doing something for the. She doesn't know anybody inside the store basically. She's doing her own thing on there.
Do they know? Does the store know that? And they don't mind?
No, they're happy.
They're happy.
Why would they?
Well, I don't know. Different people own stores, maybe.
No, I think they were happy.
Broken windows, rocks gone through. That looks like an independently owned business. You know, how much does a pane of glass like that cost? These businesses run on tiny margins, tiny percentages. The rent is so high. And now we've got this, you know, make the rent free protest. Well, I mean, the city doesn't own every building here. They can't dictate the prices. And if they start doing that, I mean, this is how they're bringing in socialism. It's here. That woman invents laws in the fountain. She thinks in public, in a park, that it's, you know, she has a right to privacy when she wants to put herself on display, like Schmeagol in Lord of the Rings with her tattooed boobs. That was such a disgusting individual in every way. Cocking back that bottle, getting ready to throw it at me. I think I could have avoided that quite easily, but that's a crazy person. Who knows what she'll do? Bite you? Who knows what kind of diseases that weirdo has? No mask. I don't know. This is well beyond where it ever should have been allowed to go. This is phase 2, everybody. I gotta tell you, it's not substantially different than phase 0. Most places are closed and screwed up. Free rent, free college, free housing, free food. Right. Yeah, she was probably on drugs, I agree. It is very violent in New York City. It's incredibly unpleasant. The cops are doing nothing. You know, if you tried to defend yourself in that situation, I'm sure they'd come arrest people. But they want to wait until you've been struck in the head and you're bleeding on the sidewalk. You know how quickly those people would swarm around? 5 kicks in the head? That could change your life forever. And I get it that the cops are worried for their own safety, but guess what? This is the whole purpose of having the cops. Store for rent. Pathetic. So here, even a huge corporate Adidas, is it open? I don't know. Are they happy about graffiti all over the front of their store? This place obviously isn't. They're painting over it, so that's a clear indicator. You know, this wood didn't start out blue. It seems like they might have painted over graffiti twice, so I don't know. I mean, that could be a store where they did specifically say, sure, come and paint on it, but I wouldn't want all this paint all over my store if I had a store here. There's a cop sitting in the car looking at his phone. I mean, why isn't every cop in New York City over there in Washington Square Park telling those people to clear out from the fountain? They're vagrants. They're living there.